Radio Shouty.
What was it like when you first went into that studio, Kurtis, and it was time for you to start laying down those rhymes? How did you feel being in the studio recording this and saying, you know what, we're about to bring the party and put it on wax?
Yeah. And I did that. I was the first one to do that, as a matter of fact. You know, take that crowd response and put it on my first two records, you know, Christmas Rap and the Breaks. And it was something special. I mean, going from, you know, block parties and park jams and jamming in the community center, you know, you had these horrible sound systems. And you had to be good, you know, of course. You had to have a really loud voice. Sometimes we got a good microphone here and there, but going into the studio and putting on those headphones and hearing that fidelity of the music sounding so clear and clean in the headphones in my ears, man, it was like night and day from being at a block party. You know what I mean? And that was I immediately turned into what they call a studio MC. You know what I mean? I love going into the studio and my voice sounded so much better. It was cleaner and clear, and the fidelity was there. I got the articulation and the delivery, the conciseness, the vocabulary. Everything played a big, important part of me being an MC in the studio. And that was what was a big change in my life, going from, like I said, you know, the community center to the studio. Wow, what a big change, big difference.
When the Breaks and Christmas Rapping hit the ground, did it automatically blow up, or was this something that you had to work with? What was the reception of the Breaks and Christmas Rapping?
No, those were two incredible songs. My favorite was Christmas Rap. You know, that was my first song, of course. You know, but I had a strange record deal. See, when I went into the studio in 1979, we had tried to get a record deal. My producers went out, Robert Ford, rest in peace, he went out to 22 different labels trying to sell this song. Now, mind you, the Sugar Hill game was the hottest thing on wax right back then. The summer of 1979, every car, every bus, every train, every boom box, every radio station was playing this song 24/7. And they sold, we don't even know how many they sold. They said 17 million, whatever. But I tell you this, I got a record deal because they were so hot, and I owe so much to the Sugar Hill game. But my producer, Robert Ford, went out to 22 different labels, and two people liked the record. The first guy liked the record. He was A&R director for Panorama Records, and he took the record up the flagpole, played it for the vice president and the president, and they turned it down, right? And so he quit. He actually quit. He left the job, went out on his own and started his own label. And then 3 years later, he signed the group called Run DMC. And that was Profile Records. And a guy by the name of Corey Robbins, right? That was Corey Robbins. Now, the next guy who liked the records was an English fellow. His name was John Staines, A&R director. He said, man, I'm gonna sign this guy up. We can recoup this record in 6 months. So let's sign him up right now. So they signed me to a deal. But he was an English fellow working with Mercury Records over there in England for phonogram records, Mercury phonogram. It wasn't Polygram. Polygram was in the States, but they were a part of the big conglomerate called Phonogram, which was owned by Philips Screwdrivers, right?
Yeah.
And so they were big over in Europe, huge. And so I became an international artist. I signed a record deal over in England. And what it was, I had a crazy deal. Like it was like a 12-inch deal. My first single had to sell over 30,000 copies. If it did, then I could make a second single. But that second single had to sell over 50,000 copies. And if I did that, then I can do an album. So that was a strange, funny deal that I had. So the first record, Christmas Rap, it sold over 400,000 copies, right? Boom. So I got the opportunity to do my next record, which was The Breaks. And The Breaks sold 840,000 copies. So I got to do the first album for hip hop. And The Breaks was the first plaque for hip hop's history too. The first certified gold rap song for hip hop's history. And so, yeah, it was a blessing. Those records did very, very well. Christmas Rap was such a popular song that the DJs played the song all the way up into the summer next year. Now, the song came out in December of 1979, and they played it after Christmas all the way up into the summer. That's how hot that song was. And you know why? Because of that crowd response. Yeah. That crowd response was so crazy. Like, throw your hands in the air. Wave them around, you just don't care. And when you play that in the club, the DJ would play it, and the crowd in the club would say, oh yeah, everybody scream. And the whole crowd in the club would scream. So this whole thing went all around the country at every club. And they would play that song, 12 or 1 o'clock at night, and everybody was partying and doing the crowd response. So that's how the record really got popular and how hip hop really got popular. Because I'm doing this live at live concerts, and I'm going to 20,000 seaters, and I'm saying, say, oh yeah. Yeah. And everybody scream, 20,000 people screaming. You can hear that from miles around. You know what I mean? And people don't forget it. They go home the next day. That guy, Kurtis Blow, turned the party out, So I got a reputation about being really, really good with the live show and the crowd response. And so I became a commodity for all the bands. They wanted me as an opening act. So I played with everybody, Kool and the Gang and Function and the Gap Band, Cameo. I went out on tour with the Commodores in 1980, the All Platinum Tour. And it was crazy. We did like 150 shows. It was an incredible show and tour. Every show was sold out. 20,000 people and better. And I played everywhere. It's like the first time America really got a chance to see what hip hop is on a live set, and I'm telling you about that crowd response and all that. So it was crazy, and people were talking about it. I remember, I'm the opening act, and you know how we don't get to the concert really early. So by time I'm in the middle of my show, then it starts to get packed, right? So this went on for a couple of months. So I started getting a little upset at that. So I went on the radio one night. I remember this. I said, look, if you want to see Kurtis blow, turn the party out. I want you all, everybody, come and get to the concert early. Be there at 8:00 and we gonna have a great time. And you know, it was sold out, right? And they all got there at 8:00 that night, and it was incredible. But you know, being an opening act was kind of tough, but it was fun because I played with a lot of the best bands in the country, in history, and I'll never forget it. It's like I was a special commodity because, you know, it was just me and my DJ, you know, 2 turntables and a microphone, you know, 2 flights. We fly in, fly out. I was doing concerts all over, you know. I remember I held the record. Jay-Z broke this record. I just found out about 4 years ago, three years ago. I was the first artist to do 3 different concerts in 3 different states in one day, you know, and Jay-Z broke that record. I think he did about 5 or 6, maybe 7 concerts in 7 different states in one day. Yeah.
Answer me this though, Kurtis.
Yes.
When you made that music, did you feel like Christmas rapping and the breaks was gonna live on forever when you dropped that stuff? And then also, was there any resistance to your new style of music going on tour with all them folks?
Of course. But I knew that first, answer your first part of the question was, of course, I knew. I mean, that's what we designed Christmas rap for. My producers, J.B. Moore, that was his idea. We're gonna make a Christmas rap song. And it's gonna be a song, you know, about Santa Claus visiting a home in New York and partying with the people, you know, and it's gonna be a great song. They're gonna play this song every year. This is what that was our mission. That was our idea and our plan. And it worked true. And I definitely want to take my hat off to all of you guys, all of you radio cats across the country, around the world, for taking that song and making it a classic, because you play it every year. Man, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. It is the biggest part of my legacy. It's going to be around way longer when I'm gone and not here anymore. We'll have this song playing for another 100, 150 years. And I thank you guys for doing it, making it a classic. You know, you play it like Nat King Cole every Christmas, and I thank you.